Welcome to Beyond the Script, where you find great movies and great conversation. Let's start the show now. The movie we're discussing today is Girls Trip with Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith, Regina Hall, and Tiffany Haddish.
For these women right here. Lord, please make sure that Lisa don't get an STD and that nobody has kidney failure, because we finna get messed up. And let me get pregnant by somebody rich. That's all I ask. Amen.
We haven't hung in 5 years. I miss you guys. We need a girls' trip.
That's my car.
Not anymore, baby.
What if I just whip out my titties?
Angela Callaway Thornton is a wife and mother, a 26-year teacher in special education by day. By night, she is an adjunct professor for 17 years. She received her bachelor's degree from the Tuskegee University, 2 master's degrees from the University of California, San Bernardino, and is currently a doctoral student at Cal Baptist University in Riverside, California. Let's welcome Angela. All right, guys, welcome back to Beyond the Script. I'm here with my very good friend, Angela Callaway Thornton. We're just gonna get right into the conversation. This time we chose Girls Trip.
Girls Trip.
Yes, Girls Trip. Yes, isn't it crazy? Because we're, girlfriends and we always tripping. No, just kidding. No, seriously. We try our best to go beyond the script, trying not to be biblical movies, but trying to, choose movies that we would watch on a regular basis and find God in them, just to help us, to remember that God is always with us, and He's with us at any time, and you can find Him anywhere and in anything. So, with Girls Trip, how did you go beyond the script?
So, of course, this resonated in my spirit because, of course, I claim New Orleans as my home.
I was about to say, because of New Orleans.
Yes. And also just the bond. So just as a backdrop as to what this movie is all about, there are 4 characters, and the main character being Regina Hall, who plays the part of Regina. No, that is her name.
Really?
Yeah,
Ryan. I was just like,
Ryan
I don't remember
Pierce.
their names. I just remember. I'm terrible. Right. Because they're all my favorites. So I'm like, my bad.
And here she is, the successful woman. She has everything that she's supposed to. She is a writer, telling people how to live their best, beautiful life. You're smart, you're beautiful, you got this.
Right.
And she's married to this ex-NFL husband, chocolate and fine, and her life is everything that she's writing about.
On the surface.
On the surface. On the surface.
Yeah.
But underneath, you see her struggling with the same ills as the women who she's claiming to help.
Yes.
Her insecurities. The idea that she doesn't have it all going on.
Right.
That she's struggling to try to reclaim her time that she's lost. Because here she's just like pouring into her husband, pouring into her business and this personification of who she is. And she takes a back step and says, when was the last time that I was actually happy? And it took her back to her girlfriends, those women who, her flossy posse.
Right.
Who they really did mirror, who not only who she was, but who she wanted to be.
And
each one of them had something about them that she endeared. And throughout the years, whether or not it's space and time, there's the character with Sasha, who's played by Queen Latifah. You realize that there's this underlying rift between the two of them, and it all boils down to the idea that she felt she left her. Yeah. And so when we start talking about our friendships, how we endear each other, what brings us to our friendships. Anybody who's had any close friends, it's either something that, you guys have either gone through together, or it's something about that person that you endear, or in some cases, it's something that you are able to give to them. I mean, how many people have had friendships where you're realizing that what you have is something that they need?
Yeah.
And so when we look at these women, so Dina, I don't know, everybody in here has a Dina in their life.
She's my
in
favorite.
their circle. Dina's that carefree, like, I don't give up
And tell
about
them
nothing.
the actor that played her.
That was Tiffany Haddish's
Exactly.
character. She played it to a T.
Yeah.
Someone who has absolutely not a care in the world, but at the same time, it's her
Cares
very
so much.
presence
Yeah.
that glues them together. And it sounds really bad, but it's almost her folly, her failures, her ratchetness.
Yeah.
Becomes the strength of the team.
Yeah.
Because of course she's the one who kind of draws everybody
She's
else
the push.
together.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have Jada Pickett's character. Here she is, a single mother, who is devoted to her children, so much to the point where she's lost her identity. Everything that she is inside of these kids. So she comes out, she looks all homely.
Right.
And then you turn around, you be like,
What are you
girl,
thinking?
like, where did you go? Because she was
Right.
like all that in a bag of chips.
Yes.
But she lost that because she wasn't able to have that support system that they had when they were young. But at the same time, when we look at those friendships that we have in our life, I know that you're a Tyler Perry fan.
Yes.
So how Medea always says, we have people are in our lives for a reason, or a season, or a lifetime, and it's really true. When we grow up, we kind of have this idea that, oh my God, you're my best friend forever.
Right.
And
God didn't say that.
And we fail to realize that in some cases, our friendships or those bonds that we have are sometimes there to develop us.
Yes.
And then once that mission is done, the friendship is too.
Yeah.
And it's nothing wrong.
Right. We have to be okay with that.
Growing, right.
Yeah.
So being completely transparent. I had this friendship where I was like, I thought we were supposed to be friends forever.
Right. What happened? What did you do?
And it took me a long time to realize that, oh my goodness, you got me to where I needed to be. And it's because of our friendship that I'm able to do what I'm doing now. Thank you. And applaud the exit.
Yeah.
And not begrudge that person for fulfilling their purpose. But so many times we take it personal. Like, oh my God, Serena, I can't believe you did this to me. Right? And we go in our closets and we're going to talk about that person.
Yeah.
And it truly is a place where God gives us these people to take us to a position. You always say, and my bishop said, and I remember a sermon that he preached, and it didn't make sense to me at the time, but when I needed it, it resonated in my spirit. He said, not everyone can go to the mountaintop with you.
Yeah.
And it never, I was like,
What does
that mean?
Right.
But it's true, there are some places in our lives that is not meant for our friendships. It's not meant for everybody. And there's some places in our journey, in our walk with Christ, that we really do have to cut off those ties. So that we can continue to grow, and so that we can continue to allow other people to grow.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we stay in relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, even family ships, too long, to the point at which they become hazardous. Let's take for example the story of those Bible stories. They come back up, but Jonah. Here he is. He's like, I ain't going to Nineveh. You ain't sending me there.
You ain't sending me there.
But here it is. Jonah had a mission. There was a purpose that God had for him in Nineveh. And he said, I ain't going. And he found himself some friends who took him on the boat with him.
And he calls in hell because he ain't on his mission. He chilling.
He down in the bottom of the boat.
Life is going terrible for everybody around him, but he chilling.
He chilling
because he ain't where he's supposed to be.
Because and there it goes. You know, here it is. He tried to bring people on a journey that they weren't supposed to go on.
They over here. And if you weren't with them, their lives would be easier.
And you even find that in Regina Hall's character, where she was trying to take this marriage.
Right. And this man. This is so funny because, like, girl, it's so true. Because you trying to take the man with you, baby, but the man, he got his own little agenda. He find his life is going to be fine when you gone. But you so caught up in the fact that y'all together and y'all building this together. The togetherness will never be as power as your singleness. It will never be as powerful as that. Because I felt like in that situation, it's different if you have a relationship where you guys are on the same road. You know what I'm saying? If you're on the same level. However, he's clearly not on the same level if he's cheating so much. No. You're clearly not, you know what I'm saying? You're not connected to this relationship. You may be connected physically, but you're not connected mentally, or you know what I'm saying? Because you keep going someplace else.
And she was trying to script their relationship.
Yeah, and trying to put it in, this is the level. And this is the thing. When you're bringing two people together, you're bringing two different entities. So it's not going to come in the package that you think it should come in. It's not going to come in the package that he thinks it should come in. If you don't agree to bring this package together and put it together as a whole and make it one, then it's not going to work.
Like, and he was trying to bring all of these other people in, and she knew about it.
Yeah.
And she was struggling with the image that she was trying to create.
Right. And this is the thing. You're creating an image, but who are you creating it for? This is a whole person. He is a whole person, a whole individual with his whole thoughts and whole brains and experiences from childhood.
Well, she had an image. She had an image that she was trying to uphold.
That she trying to uphold. Yeah. But this is the thing, and he obviously don't care about this image. If he got so many, you know what I'm saying?
But even Sasha was kind of like, what is it?
Why? Exactly. This is the thing.
To be
we see you as this powerful entity on your own. Like, why are you trying to fit in this little box that's so pretty and nicely wrapped together? What really is making you do that? Like, because you don't have to be, but it was like they were putting that in her face, and it was her insecurities overall, it's her insecurities feeling like I can't do it on my own.
And there's that one place in the show where she's like trying to recite this mantra that she's created.
Right,
you're beautiful,
and
you're strong,
this, and you're that,
and she's realizing that she's none of those things.
I don't believe this
by herself.
Yeah.
And there's always this thing that we go through as women, and I think especially, if I can say this, especially women of color. For whatever reason, we have the burden of proving that.
I love you.
We have this burden of proving that we are every woman. We got Shaka Khan syndrome to death. Every woman. And we do. We want to be the mother. So there goes Jada Pinkett's, character. We have to be, we have to be the lover. I mean, that was Dina's thing. And Dina's like, I like it.
Yes.
Let me show you, I'm skilled at it. You know how they say, you be a woman in the streets and a freak in the sheets. She was all that.
Right.
And women try to live up to those things.
Yeah.
We want to be the strong, independent one. And I think that was what Sasha was trying to do. Sasha was trying to be independent. And then you want to be the intellectual.
Right.
We for whatever reason, we always have to prove that we know what's going on and we know what's best.
Right.
That we, our careers are on track.
Perfect.
We want to be perfect. And it's like all four of these friends really are the are really the
characteristics,
the epitome of what women want to be.
Yeah.
Especially, not that all women don't try to do this, but I think that as women of color, for whatever reason, we try to find that place of perfection. Mm-hmm. And we don't necessarily have to.
We don't have
and at the end of this movie, you realize they come to a place. So just to say, my favorite part is when they're down on Bourbon Street.
Right.
And
Come on, Lisa.
No, it's time. Let's go.
No, this is not a good idea. I have to pee.
Look, the line is short over there. There's a long line in the bathroom here. Just go for it.
You can do it! All right.
Don't worry, girl. I got
but she pushes her down, or pushes her across this zip line,
Mm-hmm.
and she pees on everybody down below, and she's embarrassed by it. And so in my head, I'm like, oh, that's funny. But here it goes. Sometimes we're holding on to so much.
Wow.
Trying to be perfect, trying to get across this zip line of life. Mm-hmm. And then when we're given the opportunity and the freedom to release and be who we are, we're embarrassed by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and almost ashamed. We pissed on somebody. We're embarrassed by it instead of learning from it.
Right.
And then here comes Dina's character. She like, I'm gonna pee on
Oh,
everybody.
that's all right.
Everybody
I know we was doing this. Woo! You know what I'm saying? And that's so true, because it's just like you're like so like, I can't believe I just did. Oh my god. You're freaking out, and then it takes somebody else to tell you, girl, that's what we doing. Come on.
Right.
You got it. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh wow. And that was, what her strength is to, duck off the shoulders, the water off the duck's shoulder, water off the duck's back. Like it's not that big of a deal. Let's just move on. That was her strength. Like,
and you know what's funny is, so that scenario, a lot of times we say, oh, just let things roll off your back like water does a duck's, because a duck basically there of the water. It just rolls off. But what some people don't realize is that as beautiful as this glide across the water appears, underneath that, their feet are just going. They're going. And that's, I think, how our life is. How we want it to appear. We want it to appear as if nothing's bothering me.
right.
I got this. I can, bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan.
Right. I can do this. I can do
what.
whatever you need me to do. I'm going to do it. And then
underneath, we're just like,
you're barely making it. That's true. Okay, so the next thing I want you to go beyond the script with. Okay, so we went with, you got all the characters.
Sorry.
And we talked to, no.
Lisa, that's her.
Oh yeah, Lisa's
Jada
Pinkett's character. See, because I don't know their names. The crazy thing, I don't know any of their names because they were my favorite actresses, so I call them by their real name. My bad. So anywho, when we get to the space where they're all rifting at this point, so it's all basically came to a head,
Right.
in the hotel lobby, and so the first kind of argument goes into Lisa kind of going in on Dina, and she was like, whatever, I got this. She being herself, like, you can't make me feel bad about who I am. I am who I am. I'm this. I just be who I am. And so they're going back and forth, and then they kind of open up this conversation opens up the real issue between Sasha and
Pierce, right?
Queen Latifah and Regina. Okay, and so in that part right there, how did you kind of go beyond the script there?
So even in all of the upheaval, it becomes that place at which we recognize our place in our friendships. A lot of times especially if you're in a friendship quad, like they were in a quad. When it's just two of you, you have nobody else to bounce off of.
Right.
You can kind of hide behind the other dramas of that quad, if you would.
Yeah.
But in this place, the whole group is at odds.
Yes.
But I think that even with that the most pivotal point is that friendship between Queen Latifah and Regina. Sasha and Ryan. And it becomes this place at which Sasha lets her know that you let me down.
The truth. Yeah.
And it hurt. And Ryan was kind of like, how did I let you down?
Yeah.
And so there in our friendships, we have to sometimes recognize too that the perception is truth.
Yeah.
You know, you can say all day long, well, I didn't intend for that to happen. But if we never have a conversation about the reality of how I feel or how I was left in this situation, it festers. And the problem with situations festering is our brain kind of functions like a movie reel. Like this thing.
Yes.
And it's like as time goes on, things get inserted into that movie reel and the story changes. And so the longer that space goes on between you and I not talking or having a conversation, the distortion of what really happened gets buried in the reels.
Yeah, but it don't go nowhere. It's
And
still
it
there.
don't go anywhere. It's still there. And the storyline is always different. And
Changing.
You have a different movie reel than I do because our perceptions are different.
Yeah.
And so it was at this place, this juncture in their relationship that Sasha was able to say, you hurt me.
You hurt me.
And I thought we were better than that.
Right.
And where...
And the powerful part is this, Ryan, you know, even though she was kind of ticked off, kind of stepped back for a second and said, dang, you know. I did. And I didn't even realize that it hurt you so much. Because you think, like, my sister is Superwoman.
Like,
You should know. I call you my shero all the time. Like, however, your feelings matter to me.
Right.
And I know that when it comes to you, I'm extremely protective for your feelings because me being your friend, I've witnessed people treat you like strength, like you're always going to be able to handle it. However, it put a certain something on me because I'm going to make sure. I almost like feel like Dina in certain areas because I'm like, nah, you're not going not to her. You're not going to do that. Because it feels like on so many relationships, but it takes a person that loves you enough to look at you and look past that you're going to always say, oh, it's okay. But no, it's not. It's really not okay.
And so many times we don't want to have the conversation.
No.
We just want to like pick up where we left off.
Right. And move on.
Right.
Right.
And if we want longevity in our friendships,
that's the key. You got to want it.
You got to want it. And you have to be okay with me saying, it hurt.
It hurt.
And for me to say, I'm sorry. And not just I'm sorry so we can get on. Right. But I'm sorry in a place where I want what's best for us. And I think that as a, children's friendships are so, I love children's friendships because children, they'll play, we'll fight and then we get past it because we can move on because there's not so much ego.
Right.
Involved.
They don't know any other. Know. Yeah.
But as we become women, our ego gets in the way of what we want. And in that lobby, you see this place where they didn't care. I'm almost right now reminded of the story of Jonathan and David. In fact, Jonathan was like, I don't care who my daddy is, I got your back.
Right.
But here, even in that too, though, Jonathan had to kind of come to David like, dude, like, what's up?
What's wrong with you? Yeah.
You got to come out this cave. What's going on? I'll fight for you. I'll do whatever you want, but
yeah,
you got to come to yourself too.
Right, right.
And sometimes, as women, that's uncomfortable for somebody to say, "I don't have it going.
Right.
I don't have it all."
Right.
And even then,
yeah, even then, and then it's easier for us. I feel like for us to deal with as girlfriends, it's easier for us to deal with if you hurt me and it's black and white, and you come to me and say I'm sorry and blah. But when it's not black and white, where it's one experience, you see it this way and I see it this way. It's gonna take some maturity. It's gonna take some strength. But you have to, like you said, want this relationship to matter in your life, because you're gonna have to be able to go to I'm sorry about this, but Will Smith is one of my heroes. I'm put it out there. I'm sorry. I know he assaulted one of my other very, very favorite actors. He did assault him, but he was my hero. He is still my hero, even in his brokenness. And I feel like when he had to go back and talk to the woman that was the first Viv on his TV show, he had to sit in uncomfortable territories, uncomfortable waters. He had to take them hits because he knew that even though it wasn't his call, he was pivotal in the decision. So it's so uncomfortable, and who you are, you could just say, that's just gonna go to the grave. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna tackle that. It's gonna be too difficult. It has to take strength for you to go back and say, look, the situation in itself, because I had my own reasons why I did what I did, and you had your reasons, and this is what transpired. But what transpired was not good for you, and I had a part in that. It's difficult for people to come to the table and just take whatever you got to say. He literally just allowed her to take, you stole my career from me, you did this, you did that, and he had to take it.
And you know what? It's funny because we call it strength. But it's like, I have to love you enough to do it.
You have to love me enough.
And I think
because you don't have to. At the end of the day, you don't have to. He didn't have to sit there.
I have to love you enough. And I think that when I don't know where I read it, but there's that little saying that says, friendships are sisterhoods that you get to choose. And I know.
Don't cry, Auntie.
And I think that in that, you see it in the movie too, where these women loved each other enough to stay.
Yeah.
Because they could have very well
went on with their lives and been wonderful.
They didn't have to answer the call. They didn't have to show up.
Right.
And I think that as adults too, we think that in order for us to be friends, I gotta call you every day.
Right.
Or I gotta be in your face all the time. And it's not that. It's the ability to be able to come to a place to show up when I need you.
When I need you.
And to be there. And to love me enough to stand in a place of complete vulnerability and be like, dang, that's how I left you feeling.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right, I'm sorry.
Never my intention. Or even to be in a place where you can say, I forgive the intention, because there's some friendships where I intentionally went out to hurt you.
Right.
That was my full intention. You wore your flip like mine, and I was not.
Right, wherever the reason.
That was because that was the place that I was in.
Right.
And then that's the other part, is recognizing where we are in life. Because this life is a journey, and I choose to do it with you. And I think sometimes friendships even become stronger than even our marriages or our relationships. There's some. I love my husband. There's still some things that I'll be like, I need my friend for this. That's my friend, but I need my girlfriend for this one. Yeah. And just to know that I may be in a place that I am ugly. Yeah. That I have not been, that I've lost myself. Yeah. The place of, Jada Pinkett's character, I lost who I was. I don't know how to find her. Right. Because of hurt, life, we go through so much as adults. Go through so much as women. And to be able to reach down and say, girl, I know you're hurting. Yeah. And I know that perhaps where you were in that place, in that space, isn't a real reflection of who you are. Yeah. And
somebody has to love you enough.
And I love you enough to say,
I see past
we're
that.
Still here.
We're still here.
And I see past that.
I see past that.
And sometimes, like you said, it's kind of hard to get to bring yourself to a place where even you can admit that you're wrong.
Right.
It's so personal for me because there are some friendships that I miss. And there's some friendships where I'm like, okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
That was that season and that season is gone. But I hope that even in that, even as we reflect, they reflected upon their college years, they never will be back to their flossy posse days.
Right.
But there also has to be a place where can we reinvent where we want to see ourselves. And there may be a place where you say no. Yeah. I got to walk away from this and be okay because being in it, because there are some also toxic relationships that had to end.
Yeah.
But I think in Girls Trip that it is really a reflection of being able to take a capsule in time and recognize the love that you have for those sister girl friendships. That sometimes are stronger than any bond that we can have, and recognize that it's in those friendships that we've grown, that we've been able to see ourselves better, that we've been able to reveal the worst of who we are, but at the end of the day, that they're the one gift that God gives us, the ability to see who we are, see who we could be, in the face of other people.
Yeah, that's true. I love that movie, and I love the part too where. Oh my baby! I don't. I'm sorry. I think you just dropped your thing.
I dropped my mic. Sorry.
Oh Lord.
Drop my mics.
Is it okay still? Okay. What is that sound? Oh Lord. Okay. Oh Jesus.
Oh.
More bloopers.
I know.
Do you want to go get some tissue? There's some right there. Grab your pack with you.
Sorry.
It's okay. Don't the antenna. That's what's hurting. Yeah, the antenna.
Okay. I had it right here. Okay.
You gotta watch that, or it's gonna keep doing that.
Is it?
I'll help you. Right here, okay?
Okay.
No, right?
Yep.
Oh, my baby. Are we still rolling? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
I'll cut that part up.
Here's so funny. I really love the part where they're kind of like at the bar after the big fight. And it's before Ryan kind of goes up and she does her conference, and she goes and starts speaking into these women, but she couldn't even go to her script, and for her that's a big deal. She had to just let it out. But before all that happened, Lisa goes into the bar and sees Dina there. And I love the vulnerability in Dina in this scene because she was still herself. But the fact that she was just able to say, You know, I know who I am. I know that y'all only keep me around because I'm crazy and I'm ratchet and I probably do some crazy stuff all the time. But I love y'all. I love y'all. Like, at the end of the day, I know I'm crazy. I know y'all only, you know, I know which one I am. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with that. And that's fine. But the truth is I love y'all. I would do anything for y'all. And she was like, I'd die for y'all. She didn't say y'all, but yeah. But she's like, I'd die for y'all. Every one of y'all. And for me, that vulnerability said a lot. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, sometimes we be feeling like it's so hard. But it's really not. Because at the end of the day, you can just come and say, the fact is that I love you. The fact is I really don't want us to be apart. Yeah. That's not, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think that I hurt you. I hope I didn't hurt you. If I did hurt you, you know, even if you're not sorry about hurting a person, you still could come back and say, this relationship is stronger than this experience. And I'm okay with that. You know? I love you, my sister. However, we have to be strong enough if those who we thought were that kind of friend choose not to be, we gotta be okay with that, you know? We just gotta be okay with it and just move on and do the best we can.
Because really not all friendships are intended to go past the trip. And it's funny because, of course, we don't have a sequel.
Right.
We don't have a sequel to even know
where it went after that.
Mm-hmm. But to even just be able to take a snapshot and take an inventory of the value of people. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, even outside of the girls' trip, even outside of our platonic relationships, you have to come and take an inventory of the value that you bring to their life, and if it's reciprocated. And I think that so many times we underestimate the value of that reciprocity. Right. You know, and except for our children, there has to be some reciprocity in our relationships. Because if not, neither of us grow. You know, you think about, you know, how things grow. Trees aren't just there. You know, they have a purpose. You know, water gives them growth. You know, sunlight gives them what is needed. But then that plant turns around and gives the earth exactly what it needs. And that's how our friendships are as well. Each person has a reciprocal purpose. And as sometimes painful as it may be, sometimes our lives need some pruning. So if there's going to be a sequel, we want to know where these friendships what happened with these friendships, because it's interesting. Because and if I remember correctly, you're kind of left with a promise. Yeah, but then they did, come back. Like if you kept watching through the end, they did, like they went to a different concert at the end, and she was kind of with the guy from her college years. That was a little better for her than her husband, and you could tell that they at least, you know, kept reconciled, and really were able to be together again. So we can kind of see where the story is going. However, like you said, without the sequel, we'll never know how strong those relationships stayed afterwards. But they became partners, you know, and so that was the ultimate way of saying, you know, I'm sorry, I bailed on our venture in the past by, you know, giving you an opportunity at the time you really needed it. You know, was the ultimate I'm sorry. However, sometimes it doesn't, you know, work out that way, but, you know, it seemed as though their, you know, girlfriend bond stayed, you know, intact and maybe got stronger. However, sometimes we have those relationships where they shift. After a situation, you know, your girlfriend bond and your girlfriend's dynamic shifts. It's just different. It's weird, but it's just different. And once again, just being okay with the shift.
Right.
I think sometimes that's what happens is we're uncomfortable with the shift. And a lot of times we assume that the shift means that there's a change in the status of our friendship.
Right.
And it's not always the case.
Yeah.
But it was girls' trip for a reason.
It was.
It didn't say girls' journey.
Right. It was a trip.
It was a trip.
Yes.
And I also admonish women to find a friend for all seasons of our lives. Life is so much better with a friend.
Right. This sounds like it's about to be like our ending. What do you want to say to the audience?
I'm sorry.
She already went into it, but yes, make sure you look into the camera and tell the audience, your words of wisdom.
My words of wisdom. I think that in every season of our life, that it's so much more beautiful with a friend, and we should seek those friendships and realize their reciprocal function, the function of our friendships, the purpose. That we don't have to necessarily have the Dina Go Girl. We don't necessarily always have to have the straight lace Lisa friend, but definitely that we have somebody who we can confide in, who we can grow with, who can sharpen our iron. But this is my iron sharpening friend here. And in that, somebody who we could be ourselves with.
Right.
So find a friend.
That is
You have
true.
a friend in me.
You have a friend in me. That's so true. Somebody that you can be yourself with. Can I trust you with that information? That's the scary part for me. I never open myself up to people because I feel like every single time I make a decision, people that I love turn on me. You know what I mean? Because I made that decision. So now I'm afraid. I'm afraid to open up.
And here it goes. You don't know until you test it. But I think that one of the things that God gives us is that spirit of discernment. And we all have it. We act like it's only given to certain people. Only he got the spirit of discernment. No, we all have that spirit of discernment. And God gives us the flags. Sometimes we ignore them.
We ignore them, but he gives us the flags.
And he also gives us the freedom to be open and vulnerable. And we know who we can be that with. And sometimes vulnerability is not always somebody keeping a secret. Like sometimes we say, she's not my friend no more because she didn't keep my secret. I always say sometimes it's about, do you have my confidence? I'll never put you in a position where you look bad. Right. And I think that's the true testament of a friendship. Yeah. Is that I will never put you in a place that you look dirty, that you look unloved. I'm gonna always make sure that, that I always have your best interest at heart. Because there are gonna be some situations where I may have to tell your secret, but not in a gossipy way. Right. But in a way that says, hey, I think this is something I can't do on my own. Let's see where I can make sure that I get you to a safe place. Right. Especially when it comes to our friendships and their hearts and those heart issues. Those become really iffy situations. But I'll never put, and going back to the movie, you even see that with Dina. I love her character. Dina never put her friends in positions where they looked bad. Even though she was crazy off her rocket, she always made sure that they were that they were shown in their best light. Right. Like even the pig situation. Right. She's like, girl, I'm not gonna let you pee on these people by yourself. Right.
We're gonna do this together. This gonna be it. We planned on doing this. This is what we wanted to do. Right. And in that, that is Girls Trip. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for the cry.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you, Angie. Always And we will see you next time. Remember that God is with you and you can find him anywhere. Bye.